Hey guys, it's Evan with the Arkmo Outdoors again. Today we're actually out on some Arkansas public land. It is some hill country. I mean, nothing crazy. The highest elevation around 500 foot, but you know, the deer still like to move through it a certain way, especially considering thermals and stuff. But yeah, I've scouted this spot. Found some great terrain features that I wanted to check out. Believe some bucks would be bedded on certain points. But yeah, I'm going to take you guys along with me, show you what I kind of look for when it comes to scouting new terrain, new public land. And yeah, stay tuned. Almost forgot to spray this. These chiggers and ticks ain't nothing to play around with. Guys, we're not even 100 yards from the vehicle, and we've already found the first scrape. And as you can tell, it's pretty fresh. You can definitely tell where they're digging in there. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and keep going on. We're not quite to the spot I want to check out. I got probably a dozen spots out here that I'm wanting to check out, and yeah, hopefully we'll be able to find something. So this is something you guys definitely want to be looking for. White oaks. It's coming from that particular tree right there. It's not dropping very heavy, but it's definitely starting to drop. So I would say about another week from now, they're going to be dropping pretty heavy. This is along that travel corridor. I've walked down to the thermal hub. I didn't see what I wanted to see. And I couldn't find a bed that I believe this buck is bedding on. There's some really thick stuff in there, so I figure it's in that general area and he's using this. Yeah, but there is quite a bit of acorns dropping. Right there. Yeah, it's nothing crazy yet. But this definitely gives me some information. And I actually, just sitting here talking to you guys, I just stumbled upon a additional scrape. This buck is definitely aggressive. So far I found about 7 scrapes along this travel corridor, and I figure it's coming from one buck. But so to kind of give you guys an update and kind of show you guys the best I can what I look for when it comes to hunting hill country. So just a pan around. So I am somewhat on the edge of a ridge. So you got the ridge that is right here, and about 75 to 80 yards of that way you have the point. So about the general area that I'm at right now, and it's a little bit different on these skinny ridges. It's kind of hard to explain, but a lot of these deer still move the same way, whether it's higher elevation hills or skinny ridges like this with lower elevation. So it's very faint, but I am on the military crest, which is about 1/3 of the way to the top. So the top is right there, and I'm right here on the edge. And the way these deer move is this is their travel corridor. I know it's really faint, but there's a trail there, and we actually have somewhat of a historical rub right here. We do have this year's, a little bit of rubbing from this year. I mean, it's nothing crazy. I did find one up there as well. Yeah, this trail will go along this line. It will go basically on the edge of a ridge. So this ridge system goes out to that point, and depending on the the wind for the day, that is how you determine where they're going to be bedded. So guys, I'm just going to follow this trail down a little bit. And if you're ever in hill country and you're trying to look for trail systems, usually they're really faint. But if you follow the rule of, scout different ridges, the crest line, the military crest side, you can usually find some sign and figure out their travel corridor. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about the points and how they bed on certain points. It all really depends on the wind. So for example, this spot right here that I'm headed to, see, I'm on top of this ridge. I'm on the military, or I'm not technically on the military crest, but at the end of this, there will be a point, and usually that's how the deer will bed. Depending on, like, for example, the deer will bed on this point when I have a southwest wind. When I have a wind that's in the opposite direction, it's going to be bedded on the leeward side. So, to try to kind of explain the military crest a little bit more in depth, it can kind of get confusing, and it's not always going to be 100%. That's why you got to get boots on the ground and get out there and figure it out for yourself. But these deer here in this new public area that I'm scouting, they're definitely following the rules when it comes to movement in hill country. So example, like, I am on top of this point now. So the way these deer would move through it, and that is exactly where that trail is, and I found a few rubs, no scrapes, and the same thing with the opposite side of the ridge. So guys, I just jumped up a doe, and she was over here in this spot, and I snuck right up on her and looked like she was feeding. She was feeding on some acorns. And there's a simple sign that you can tell deer have been feeding on acorns. So you'll find caps. And there's an example of the acorn. But you'll find caps that have just little tiny notches. Deer will just put a little notch, like, honestly, not even that much. And sometimes it's so almost not even really noticeable that they've been feeding on some acorns. But I don't know if you guys can tell, but that just little piece on the inside right there, this tells me that they're definitely feeding right here in this area. We even have a historical rub as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you could kill a deer here. Yeah, we'll definitely mark it on the map and scout around this area, try to see where they're coming in and out of. Because I've already walked past this and I didn't notice this until I came back. Not super fresh, but it's a start. Seems to be some acorns dropping in this area, and my view is right there. Could be promising. Yeah, quite a bit of acorns dropping. Well guys, I just found the first tree that I'm going to use for a set, possibly. But there's a white oak there, a white oak on the other side, right there. A good cluster over there as well. They're all dropping steadily. and I figured in about a week and a half they're going to be dropping really good. But there's trails on the other side of this ridge right here. They're all running along. I still haven't made it even to the transition zone where I originally planned to go check out, but the trails are intersecting up here. So yeah, we're definitely got this spot marked. Guys, just show you a good example of a transition zone. Well, you can't really tell, but that stuff right there is pretty much, you can't go through that. I mean, it's really, really thick. And then up here, you have open woods. Well, somewhat open. I mean, it's thick, but it's not too bad. And then right here, I know it's really faint, but there's a trail right on the edge of it. Yeah.
Hey guys, I just kind of wanted to take a moment and put this in the middle of the video after day one and kind of speak about what I was looking for. I know I didn't go into detail very good while I was in the field scouting. It was very hot. It was by lunchtime, it was already in the 90s. So it was hot and I was getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. So what I was looking for mostly was bedding and corridors, travel corridors to the bedding and to food sources, just trying to piece everything together. I will post a picture about what I was talking about, the military crest, and kind of explain a little bit more about what exactly I meant by that. I know it can kind of get confusing, but pretty much some bucks will travel the edge, and that gives them an advantage of a security. It's a security survival instinct that they have, because no predators can catch their, I don't know the word for it. Basically, no predators can skyline them from on top of the ridge, and they're covered from the top of the ridge, and they're also getting those thermals rising from the midday. So a lot of times they'll travel that during the midday when the thermals are rising, and vice versa when the thermals are falling. They'll go lower, usually into those thermal hubs. And it can be really complex, and not every place is going to be the same. Every deer is different. You know, you can't take into account the pressure that I have on my public land versus what you may have. So it is kind of hard. All you got to do is get out there and put boots on the ground and find out what they're doing. Below, or the next scene will actually be a picture of the military crest to kind of break it down a little bit further and to help those guys that hunt hill country kind of have some more success, kind of break down areas that they can go straight to and scout.
So guys, right here I have a hybrid topography map, and this is just an example map. This is not where I hunt. This is in Arkansas, so kind of gives you an example of Arkansas terrain where I hunt. Red line represents the buck travel corridor, and as you can tell, it's on the military crest, which the picture I put before this recording is actually a good kind of showcases what a military crest is. So the white markers are actually going to be tree stand locations dependent on the wind, and the triangles are actually potential buck bedding spots. You don't really know until you get out there and put boots on the ground and scout and find those beds. But we have the top of the ridge here, the point, and we have these little fingers that come off like that. And usually the bucks like to travel or just the deer in general, like to travel the edge as a security feature. They're all about survival. Access can be weird when you're hunting these beds in these areas. Usually I like to stay on the top of the ridge systems. I've found that successful in past hunts. But yes, let's talk about the bedding. The bucks will usually bed there when the thermals are rising and the wind is behind their back, blowing directly across their back, so they're getting any sense from predators behind, and they're also getting the rising thermals from the bottom, and they can see down there as well. It's a win-win situation for them. They are survival professionals, is the way I like to look at mature bucks, but I do believe we give them a little too much credit at times. They are just deer. But yeah, this is an example of a saddle, and all those that hunt hill terrain or know anything about topography know a little familiar with saddles, and that's usually from the times I've hunted saddles. That is how they like to move through it, and depending on the wind again, that is also how I like to position my tree stands. But yes, if you don't have a good wind, if that deer is going to catch you before you even halfway get to your spot, then there's honestly no reason to even hunt. And these are rising thermal spots that I have. I usually will hunt these, that first bit in the morning when you have the thermals rising from the sun coming out. That's my go-to spots. And talking about when the thermals are falling is a whole different video, but you can see that right there. You got that nice little thermal hub, the little bowl, little valley, but that's a whole different episode.
Hey guys, it's Evan again. This is day 2 of scouting. 4 days till the season. While I won't be able to hunt the opener, I'm going to try to get out afterwards. Work comes first and family, so I'm scouting a area I did scout last year. This year is a little bit different. They have some huge cornfields surrounding. I mean, I bet one cornfield is every bit of 300-400 acres. But just, I kind of show you guys the area. As you can already tell, I mean, it is some thick stuff, but we are going to make our way through it. And if you can't tell, there is a pretty good size oak tree here. I call it a pin oak. I'm not sure the exact term or species of it is, but it's already dropping a few acorns. I mean, you see some caps right there. Looks like the deer are already feeding on them. So yeah, we're gonna work our way through this and see what we can find. This stuff is really thick, so it shouldn't be an issue finding any bedding areas, but so kind of explain to you guys what I'm looking at here. So I'm on the edge of the woods, and as you can tell, there's a transition line. I really wanted to check it out. I'm walking the edges of the woods looking for trails coming in and out, and also looking for historical sign. I got quite a bit to still scout, but I got good hopes for this. I guarantee you that there is some deer right now bedded in that stuff. You can tell it's pretty thick, but that creates a powerful transition line. And now I'm just looking for food sources. Trails coming in and out to food sources. So guys, I just crossed this transition line, and already off the bat, we got some rubs. some older ones, but looks like a pretty decent buck back here. He's rubbing all up and down it. So yeah, we're gonna work our way into this this opposite side of the woods and see what we can find. Guys, I know it's probably really hard to see on camera, but we have a bed right there. We have another bed over here, right there against that tree. As you can tell, this is some pretty thick stuff. Definitely know where to hang a stand. I'm sure they bed all over those. I'm surprised I haven't jumped up a deer yet. Guys, this is what you want. That right there is a fresh rub. Looks to be a pretty decent sized buck too. I'm on this deer trail I found, and it's leading me to all the right places. We're on the edge of a cornfield. Great transition line as well. I bet some bucks are bedded back there. So guys, you have a natural funnel here. You have this little slough. You have a cornfield right there. And that right there. And the deer trail starts from way back there. Goes right up in there. Well guys, I'm just a little bit past where that rub was. And I just jumped up a nice doe right there at the edge of the field. And that green stuff. I was looking at this. And she had jumped up. Real solid body deer. There's actually a trail on the edge of this slough that keeps going into that thicker stuff. And there's another trail that goes off of it into there. I'm a little bit leery about going a little bit deeper. I may jump up a few more deer. I don't really want to disturb them too much, but what I figure is that they have trails going in and out of the corn, most likely feeding on the corn. Show you guys kind of where I'm at. I'm on the edge, about 20-30 yards into the woods from the cornfield, and over there, and right there is where I jumped that doe. We have this right here. Pretty fresh. We also have another one right there. So, from what I've figured so far, is that what I've figured out is that these deer are obviously using this as a travel corridor, this transition line from the cornfield, but they're also bedding on the edge of the slough. I found multiple beds. Guys, I'm not even gonna lie to you. This entire area right here, I just found 3 more rubs. One right there, pretty fresh. One right there. There's acorns in here too. Another one right here. This is a really aggressive buck, so he's definitely traveling the edge of this transition. I know you guys can't really see it that good. There's another right there. So I figure setting up anywhere in here would be killer. And I don't know if you guys can see, I mean, there's just acorns everywhere. This buck is, it might be multiple bucks, it most likely is, but this deer is one right there. And I came out here last year, these were not here. I never hunted it, but, and here is a trail. Looks like it's going in and out of the cornfield. I'll check on it in a sec. But there's another one. I mean, there's easy a dozen different rubs, all within the area of about 20 yards or so. I mean, this deer right here is really, really aggressive. Yeah, and this trail right here leads right out to that cornfield. Might be a good kill spot. Just not really sure where I would set up. Yeah, I'm gonna keep walking on, see what I can find, and I'm sure I'm gonna find a ton of more rubs, but we'll see.
Okay, let's talk about day 2. I know I didn't really do a closing interview on that video, but what ended up happening is I ended up following the trail along that slough, and I ended up finding multiple beds where they were bedded against the water. Now I'm gonna have to look at the maps, kind of figure out where their beds are going to be, depending on each wind and how I'm going to access, but I don't figure it's going to be easy. I do believe that buck that is making all them rubs is going to be a younger buck, but I may be wrong. I have no cams in there, and I don't plan on putting any cams back there. The bedding situation, I found quite a bit of beds along the field edge, and I'm guessing that is so when they have a wind that is blowing directly behind their back into the field, they can see what's coming out of the field as well. We'll see how that plays out. Like I said, I'm gonna have to look at the map, kind of figure out an access and how I'm going to move throughout the terrain depending on which wind. There was pretty much beds throughout the whole piece of public that I scouted. It's around 150 acres. Like always, guys, I just want to say I appreciate you guys watching. If you can, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Like I said in the video past, I do plan on dropping around 2 videos a week when the 2022 hunting season comes in, and hopefully I'm able to provide some good footage for you. Yeah, hope you enjoy.